I'm really excited about them. Andrew Beck's coming along nice. All the young guys have really done a nice job this summer integrating into our culture, and it's showing up on the field right now. It's really good competition between Garrett, Rees, Cade, and Kendall for that backup spot behind Andrew right now.
Everyone around here wants to know how Cade's looking and how's he doing.
He's doing well. It's a learning curve, just because speed of the game. People are a lot bigger, but I can't. I'm proud of him because the effort has been every day, and every day we're taking strides and we're getting better. So as long as we're doing that, we're going to end up okay in the long run.
I don't know if you have former alumni coming up to you, former tight ends, Boske, David Thomas. Say, Coach Meekins, tight ends have lost art around here. What can we see from the tight end getting them back involved in the offense and really making a dynamic impact?
Well, if you talk to anybody that's ever played in our offense, the tight ends are the ones that tie the whole package together. They've got to be able to split out and do things that receivers do, and then they also have to come into the box and do grown man things like offensive linemen. So we've got 4 or 5 guys right now on campus that can do that. So we're excited to see them grow and develop in the system.
Do you think Cade can help you this year?
I think at this point in time that any of the 5 can help us this year, as long as they keep improving and doing the little things right. They've got the base scheme down now, so now it's about coming back and learning how to refine their craft and do the little technique things to make sure that they can win at the point of attack.
With Kendall, how obvious is it that he's played a few years of college football versus how much of a learning curve is it coming in here basically right at the start of camp?
Yeah, he should have an advantage because he's going into his 5th year of college football, but I'm telling you, all those guys are right there neck and neck right now, and I couldn't be more proud or happy of them, or happy of their effort.
What do you like about Rees?
Rees, being a two-way player in high school, I knew coming in that he was going to do really well as far as sinking his hips and using his hands, because he was an all-state 4I as well as playing tight end every snap. So obviously that's where his strength lies, is in and around the box. We got to keep continuing to refine his route running skills and just the nuances of being able to play in space.
Guys are doing a good job. Obviously pretty solid at left tackle with Connor. Patrick Vahe's had a solid training camp so far. Good to have Zach Shackelford back in there at the center position, and he's growing in that role. Jake McMillan's doing a nice job between center and right guard right now. We really got a right tackle battle going on between a few guys, and it's a competition every single day. And then beyond that, it's defining those other roles. Who's the best fit as the backup left tackle? Who's the best fit as the backup left guard? Patrick Hudson's doing a good job at right guard, getting better every single day. But overall, they're progressing, through our first half of training camp. And I'm excited about where we are, and I'm looking forward to seeing this unit continue to grow.
This unit helped produce a 2,000-yard back last season. You being new here, what kind of identity do you think this offensive line has? We heard terms lunch pail guys, savages. How would you characterize and describe your group?
Similar to that. They're very accountable, hard-nosed, a tight-knit group, really a tight-knit group. They do a good job of coaching each other. They're hard on each other, and they encourage each other, and that's why they're as close as they are. But they're very hard-nosed, keep your head down, work. They all know it's not a glorified position. You only get your name called if you do something bad, because there's disaster following a mistake up front. And they accept that. They do. They accept that. And they come to work every day, morning, noon, and night with bright eyes, ready to get coached, ready to get better. So it's a hard-nosed, lunch pail type mentality, hard hat on, let's go do this together type group.
How much of a concern is the right side of the line?
Well, obviously we would love to feel as good about the right tackle position, to be honest with you, as we do about the left, but we also know how talented 55 is. There's not many of those guys in the country that are going to go play left tackle this season. But I feel good about where we're at. I do. I love that we have competition going on at that spot. Like I said, with a few different guys. So, and they're kind of slowly defining those roles day by day as we get closer to game one and all those things. So I like where we're at right tackle right now.
Is Shackelford, are you pretty set with him as the center, or are you still kind of going back and forth?
Still kind of mixing it up right now between him at the center position and him playing some right guard as well for us. He has the ability to play the left guard position, as does Jake. Jake can play all of those spots there in the middle. I feel good with Patrick Hudson, like I said, Patrick Hudson at right guard. And Alex Anderson's getting some left guard reps for us as well. So we're getting some guys in there that are going in there and competing and doing a good job.
What has Elijah Rodriguez done to throw himself? I know he's dealing with a little injury now, but to throw himself into that starting rotation?
All he's done is work. From the day that we got here, January 17th or whatever it was, the day after Martin Luther King Day, that kid is as blue collar as they come. He's hard-nosed, keeps his mouth shut, unbelievably versatile. He's a guy that can do about anything. He can play all the positions. He's intelligent enough to do it. He's tough enough to do it. You can throw him in there at center. He'll be calling out the front, IDing everybody, snapping the football on target and playing at a high level. So he's a valuable player for us. But all he's done is work. That's it. All he's done is work. He's never griped about a thing since I've been here. Went into spring ball as the backup left guard, came out of spring ball as the starting right guard, and we've been repping him at that right tackle position as well. So he's an intelligent, tough guy, smart, tough, dependable player, which is exactly what we're looking for throughout everybody in the unit.
It's just practice, Coach, but has Connor shown in practice like the preseason All-American he is?
Yeah, so the unique thing about Connor is this. He's as hard a working guy as we have on this football team. He is. Everything's important to him. He never takes a lazy step. He never takes a lazy rep. He's extremely hard on himself. He takes more notes than anybody else in my meeting room. And every rep that he takes, whether it be in pre-practice or in individual drills or live game reps against the defense, it's 100 miles an hour. That's what makes him unique. Obviously, he's talented, but it's awesome to have a really, really, really talented player in your room that is an extremely hard worker. So that being said, yeah, I mean, he's everything that he's cracked up to be. And again, he's a smart, tough, dependable guy. I mean, he excels in the Macomb School of Business here. There's not many guys on our football team that are doing that right now and playing high-level football. So he's a pretty special guy.
Vahe last year kind of in the doghouse with that coaching staff. What have you seen? Are you seeing, and obviously you weren't here, but from studying film or whatever, are you seeing something different from the way he's approaching practice and day-to-day stuff this year?
I do. There's a couple reasons for that. One, he has changed his body and body composition through working with Coach McKnight. He's a leaner football player right now. He's a stronger football player right now. So he's more confident in his movements. He's more confident in playing the game balanced. And he's hard on himself like Connor is when it comes to studying the game, studying assignments, hard on himself with technique, so on and so forth. So because of his training with Coach McKnight through the winter off season and the summer, that's what's allowed him to play the game with more balance, right? That was the issue with him in the past. He wasn't as strong. He was a hair top heavy because he'd always play hard, but he'd end up on the ground. He's not doing that. He's doing that. He's staying on his feet and playing the game square and strong because of the effort that he put into this thing with Coach McKnight through the winter off season and the summer. And the film study, the playbook study, the technique study, that's why he's playing good football right now.
Are there any challenges to an offensive line coach when you got a strong quarterback competition and your guys learning to adapt and adjust with each quarterback in terms of timing, chemistry, cadence, and things like that? No,
there's nothing with us that goes into that. It's our guys' job to go in there and do their job. It doesn't matter who we have back there, quarterback, running back, wideout, tight end. That is irrelevant. It's our job to do our job with whatever quarterback tells us the football play is. It's our job to communicate, get down in a great stance, play with great technique, and play through the echo of the whistle. So in terms of who the quarterback is behind us, it doesn't make any difference to us.
I think that we have a chance to be a pretty good group. We have a lot of depth, probably the deepest group of receivers in terms of numbers that I've seen on a team in a while. Our biggest thing is we have to learn to play this game tough. which generally is not words that correspond with playing the position wide receiver. They're learning. They really don't have a choice in this program if whether or not they're going to play the game tough and play the game physical. But if we learn that, which they're on their way, I thought they've done a good job. They've responded at times to the adversity that we create for them, the chaos that we create for them at practice, better than others. Other times not as much, but I think that they have a chance to go make some plays because they're pushing through adversity. I don't think that talent is the issue. I think it's going to be the mental toughness and the physical toughness portion from my unit, and that's on me to put them in a situation where they can learn that, and so by the time that we get to a game, succeed.
How's John Bird looking, and what do you expect from him throughout the season?
John Bird is doing well. He has obviously he's got some down the field speed that we'd all like to have, but he's got to continue to improve, and which he has in terms of just being assignment sound like everybody else. When you get still in a day camp and you've just finished installation, some of those guys, the guys that are going to rise, are going to be the guys that know what to do and execute when they get out on the field. So they're kind of all in that little group right there, and John's got a chance to be a big play threat down the field, just like Gerard does, or Lorenzo, or Dorian, or any of those guys that get out on the outside. So for him, it's going to be a matter of executing when the ball is in the air.
With a guy like John, I know you weren't here, but it seemed like he was kind of almost battling it mentally just in terms of catching the ball last year. Is there like a reset button you can hit with him to just, hey, start over, we know you can do this at this level, or how do you approach that?
I think that any time that, regardless of who it is or whatever scenario that they're in, if you want a kid that is a player that is struggling with some component, you have to create opportunities for them to develop and opportunities for them to have success. If you put them in constantly in scenarios where they're not going to win, they're not going to ever get over the hump, then they're ultimately never going to get over whatever it is that you're trying to ail them of. John has been put in a lot of scenarios where he's been forced to make tough catches, and he's made some. Is he perfect? No, but I don't think that he's any worse than anybody else. He's done a good job of, I think, competing for the ball. He's gotten himself open. He's got to continue to play and develop, and we got to continue to put him in situations where it's, hey, this is your chance to go make a play, make tough catches, make the ones down the field, make the ones underneath. And he's developed from that standpoint. I've been really proud of him and the way that he's worked from that standpoint.
What about Colin Johnson, just a physical freak? He came on strong last year, had a great spring game. What's he shown you that's impressing you?
Colin, my biggest knock on Colin from the spring was that he wasn't willing to use his 6'6" frame and play the game physical and create space for himself. He wasn't physical on the perimeter. I just didn't see that, not from him. And he's really come on, I think, this fall camp and embraced that challenge that I've issued to him. And he's been physical. He's been physical on the perimeter. He's been physical for the ball in the air. He's made some very, very tough catches. And I think that that's part of him growing up. I mean, he's still he's a big kid, but that doesn't mean he's an old kid. He's still a young guy in his second year in college football, and I know that he's got a few games under his belt. But those still. I mean, we all know what we were like at 19 years old, and we're asking him to be a grown man. And so he's growing up. He really is. He's playing the game more physical. He's making tough catches, and he's embracing the hard work and the physical toughness that's required to play this game, but that position at a high level.
A guy like Gerard Herd, who's made the transition from quarterback to receiver, and he had a pretty solid year last year. What are you seeing from him? Tom said that he thinks the best receivers and tight ends are the guys that used to play quarterback.
Yeah.
What has Gerard Herd done to impress you?
Gerard Herd, I think when we talk about where the ball placement needs to be, we talk about spacing and concepts, passing concepts. Gerard gets that. It's easy to talk to him about that and like, hey, remember when you were playing quarterback, you see the spacing that you're looking at. Yes, sir, I got you. That makes more sense to me now. I need to do this adjustment to my route. He is very, very good about that. He's great to talk to. He's an unbelievably hard worker. Definitely not perfect in terms of being a complete receiver at this point. You can tell he's still learning the position at times. He's only got a year under his belt doing it, but he's working his tail off. There's a few guys in my group Dorian and Gerard and Colin right now that are Reggie, I think, at times, but those guys are really working their tails off, and you can feel how hard they're working. So I credit that to Gerard. Gerard's got some competition on his hands. He really does. I mean, there's going to be for that spot out there. I mean, there's a few guys that really want that spot and are practicing well and practicing hard, but he's been very, very dedicated to disciplining himself to learn that position and how to play it and all the conversions and how it happens on the move.
You mentioned all the depth that you have in receiver. At what point in time do you kind of have to narrow it down and say, these are the 6 or 7 guys or whatever I think I can count on Saturdays?
The great thing about what we do here is if you are not starting on a special team, you do not touch the football. So it puts a lot of emphasis on skill position players that think, hey, I don't do the whole special forces special thing. We call it special forces here. I don't do the whole special forces thing. Yeah, you do. Okay, and if you want to touch the football in this program, you're going to go get on special forces one way somehow. And for a lot of those guys, it's been an eye-opening experience. They haven't really had to do special teams so much. They've been either the returner or, hey, we got to hold this guy out. Not here. And that helps a lot in terms of cleaning up your depth. If you don't really want to do that, if you don't really want to get involved in special forces, then there's nothing I can really do for you. Okay, it's going to be on you to be a little bit more selfless around this program and get out there and run down on kickoff or run down on punt to go help make a tackle and things like that. As we get to the season, it's going to be about execution, assuming that, let's say that everybody's on special forces and starting and playing well. It's going to be about execution. Who can we trust? When Connor Williams looks out there to his left, okay, and he sees a couple wideouts, does he trust them? Okay, does the quarterback trust him, right? And that's going to be for me am I going to put my paycheck, or are we going to put all of our livelihoods at risk? And that's going to be about execution and making tough plays and playing the game physical.
How's Reggie developing?
Reggie's growing up a lot. Reggie has a chance to be a good football player. He's got some growing up still to do. He's still a young guy. Okay, young guy, and he's going into his first season. He was here last year and got redshirted, but he's going into his first season. He's growing up. He's working hard. He is. He still makes some young guy mistakes that are definitely not veteran mistakes. They're young guy mistakes, and when we get those things cleaned up and he learns to play the game a little bit more mentally tough, which he is, I think he's made tremendous strides in the off season and through fall camp, and he's continuously improving. So I think he's got a chance to be an impact player here someday.
And then Lorenzo, we saw him 2 years ago make some spectacular catches and kind of got injured some last year. Where is he at, and how far is he coming along?
Lorenzo is a guy I think that could play any position on the field for us. He is a smart kid, a coach's kid, loves football. Football comes intuitively to him. I say, hey, go play this, go play X, go play H, go play Z. No questions asked. He knows what to do, even with no reps. So he's a guy that is working. I mean, we talked about it in the Special Forces meeting the other day. Look how hard Lorenzo Joe was working. So he's a guy that's going to find himself on the field some way, somehow. I don't think that there's any way that he's going to let himself not be on the field, just the way that he competes and the way that how smart he is on the field.
And Devin, can anyone stop Devin, Coach? I know he thinks he's the fastest of all time, but how's Devin looking, and is he still lighting it up out there?
Devin's doing a good job. Devin's played. Like I said, there's been a lot of competition at a lot of those places. So how many times have we let Devin just get out and go run? Not a ton. For him, Devin's going to be can you become a complete player, not just a straight line player? Okay, and he's worked really hard at that. I think he's got a chance. He's got very natural hands, so he's been doing well. He's got to continually improve, just like the rest of those guys. And I think that this early right now in camp, as early as 10 days can be, okay, getting out of installation, you're going to find out a lot more about these guys in the next probably week, where we are, I think, from a mental state in terms of the digestion of our playbook and the execution as it comes out into the field, even when practice gets hard.